Good?
Yeah.
Alright, I just want to read you some stuff here. I want to read you a few things. We'll see how it fits together, alright? I believe this word's alive.
Yes.
And it can do stuff. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit of it. I touched on it a few weeks ago about, whenever you study in Corinthians talking about gifts of the Spirit and all that, there's a gift of healing, and there's also a separate gift that's a gift of miracle. So what that tells me is that you can have healing without it being an instantaneous miracle, right? So we get to where, what we believe down here. We believe in miracles, we believe in healing, we believe that it's God's will for you to be healed, and so we go after that. Doesn't mean we're there yet and we get it all the time, and it's maybe not always immediately. And so the thing is, then, if you don't get it immediately, what happens is you're kind of like let down or thinking, well, it ain't working or what. But I don't want you to fall into that, right? Because it is working. Even if it's not an instantaneous miracle, it's still working, right? Okay, so I want to show you this, because what happens is we get hung up on situations, and situations. We all got situations. We all go through situations, right? And so if we're not careful, we get to where we don't see past the end of our nose, and we get hung up and focused on a situation and look at certain things and instances and times and not look at the whole broad picture, right? Right? Just me. No? Because I'll say this, there's been days where I thought, I don't know if this is working or not, right? And so I'm thinking, man, I don't know, but it's got to be, and I just stay with it, and then I'll look up 5 years down the road and look back and think, my gosh, look how far He's brought me, look at all this, and I didn't see it on that day, right? Come on, Holly, let's go. So I just want to read you some stuff. I'll just read you a few things. Look at this I found in Daniel. I've never really heard anybody preach on this, but I thought this was just an interesting story. There's this guy named Daniel in here, and he was distraught for his people, and he prayed and he's fasting. He was distressed. He was really serious about it. And so there is this story, and so this angel shows up, and I'll read you this little story here. This is in Daniel 10. It said, "Then behold," this is Daniel talking. He said, "Then behold, a hand touched me, and set me trembling on my hands and knees. He said to me, O Daniel, man of high esteem, understand the words that I'm about to tell you. Stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. And when he had spoken this word to me, I stood up trembling. Then he said to me, Do not be afraid, Daniel." This is a side note, but it's a lot of times angels say, "Do not be afraid, do not fear." A lot of places say, "Do not fear." There's "do not fear." Depends on what translation you got, but anyway, "do not fear" is said in this Bible 365 times.
That's right.
One for every day. That's just side commercial for free, okay? Then he said to me, "Do not be afraid, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart on understanding this and humbling yourself before your God, your words were heard." Right? He cried out to God, right? The angel said, your words were heard from that day. All right? Your words were heard, and I have come in response to your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia was withstanding me for 21 days. Then, behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia. Now I've come to give you understanding of what will happen to your people and answer your prayer and answer your question. Let me say all that fancy reading. It said this: Daniel's heart was distressed, and he cried out to heaven. And the minute his words were heard, heaven sent a response. Right? But this angel's saying, hey, the minute your words were heard, I was sent. But there was an evil angel, spirit. There was another king of Persia, represents evil spirit here. was warring with me and battling me and kept me from getting to you for 21 days. Now, I don't know about you, that seems kind of interesting to me, don't you? Because I thought I was wanting all mine immediately. Didn't you all? I pray I want right now, don't you? Then I seen in there that one of the fruits of the Spirit is patience. All right, let me read you some more. Because you got to be able, patience is also kind of confidence. It's like this, be confident of this. The one that began the work in you will complete it. Not maybe. He's coming through. As soon as you pray, the word was sent, right? It might not be happening immediately, but if you're grounded in your position, immediately or not immediately really doesn't affect you all that much. If you have to look and say it didn't happen immediately and now you're shaking, I seem like this, you hear me say all the time, there's so much power in what you believe. What you believe, it really comes out of even all this battle that was going on. This angel, good spirits, bad spirits, there's warfare going on. You don't see it, but if you think that's not happening, you're already whooped. You can look all here. We got spiritual warfare going on. That's good versus bad going on around us all over. We don't even see it. It's happening right now. It's happening in here. It's everywhere. And so what you are aware of and what you believe in, that has power. What you're aware of, what you believe in. I say this, that you ever walked into a room, like a hospital room or somewhere where there's turmoil, tragedy, you can just walk in the room and you can see it on somebody's face. You don't know any of the particulars, you don't know any of the details. You can see pain and anguish and fear on their face so much that you can feel it. You can cut it with a knife, it's so thick. Anybody ever felt that? I mean, I've walked into rooms where death was in the room. You can feel it, tangible. Well, it's because of really what they're aware of. Whatever you're aware of, it almost emits around you. Fair enough? You could be so messed up and full of fear and terror and dread because of what you're aware of, that's emitting off of you. And so people around you can feel it. Well, if the spirit of fear can put that off, whether it's 2 Timothy 1, maybe 7, says God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and a sound mind. Well, if fear is a spirit, if fear is a spirit that can be in somebody and they're so aware of their surroundings and their situation that it's emitted and becomes tangible to where you can feel it and you can sense it and you can be affected by it. If that's a spirit, if fear is a spirit, what if somebody walked in aware of something else? Aware of the presence they got, aware of who it is that lives inside of them, aware of who's got over situations and has power and his winds never lost a battle. What if somebody's aware of that and walks in? The Spirit, He's not giving us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and a sound mind. What if somebody walks in aware of that? I believe it's way more powerful than fear. Well, if you can see fear on somebody and fear can become a tangible presence because of what they're aware of, what if somebody walked in aware of something that trumps fear? Amen. Why can't it become tangible and present and because of what you're aware of? Listen, I'm going to tie all this together. I might be all over the place, but it's because I don't hinder myself by an outline, all right? You might think, man, he's all over the place tonight. Well, I don't hinder myself because this one might need that. When you stand here and you're vulnerable and you happen to be the well, there's a well of water springing up into everlasting life in you, right? So I happen to be the one standing here. This one might need that. You drawing this out of the well. This one might need that. You drawing this out of the well. So I ain't apologizing for being all over the place. So let's just go. Listen to this. Somehow he'll tie it all together. Romans 8:28. This is one of my favorites. Romans 8:28. Most of you probably know. let's read it, since I'm on the page there. Romans 8:28 says this. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, those who are called according to His purpose. Right? We know that all things work together for the good. Does it say all things are good? And you know, I believe in total victory, and I believe we always win. But is anybody in here, ever since you got born again, you've never had a bad day? Never had a battle? You're dismissed. You can go ahead and go. No, it doesn't happen, does it? Fact is, you can't have victory without a battle. Fact is, you can't get better at winning without a battle.
That's right.
I mean, I'm telling you, you get a revelation of this, a battle comes your way, you'll get happy. Opposition shows up, it will be proof that you're going higher. All things work together for the good. I'm saying what you're going through might not be good. And if we get hung up on situations and we can't see further past our nose, then we'll get hung up on that. We'll get mindful of that and aware of that, and fear set in or whatever, and disappointment in this, and we'll be emitting that. If we get to the place where we're grounded in this thing and say, you know what, I may be going through something, I don't know it all, and I've got victory coming, I know it may be 21 days late, it may be 21 years, I don't know. But I do know this, that I'm blessed and that it's working for my good. And I'm going to stay right here in faith, and I'm going to let the truth be the truth, and I don't know. But when I look up 2 or 3 years from now, I'm going to say, man, look where I'm at now. I didn't know it on that day, but looky here. Look what He's done. Look how far we've grown. Anybody here? Know what I'm talking about? Listen to this. Here's why I don't want you to get hung up on situations. Let me read you another. James 1. James 1. Because if we get hung up on situations, it'd be like Peter. Peter sees Jesus walking on the water, right? You all know the story. And so Peter said, bid me come. I want to walk on the water. Jesus said, come on. Well, how many know that ain't natural? Right? It's not typical. Doesn't happen in the natural settings of things, right? But because Peter heard a word from God, he overrode natural and walked on the water. Now what happened? He started being aware of the situation and got focused on the situation and the waves and the ups and downs, and he started to sink, right? What if he would have just kept his eye on Jesus and was not aware of the situation? He'd still be out there walking on the water, I imagine. Listen to what James said. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its perfect results, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Yeah, that ain't what I was looking for. Let's see. Everybody good? James 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Let's see what. Okay, let's keep going. But if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. But he must ask in faith. Ready? He must ask in faith without doubting. For the one who doubts is like the surf of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For that man ought not to expect that he will receive anything from the Lord, being a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Whoa. That's pretty harsh words, ain't it? I'll say, James saying, let him ask, you're going to go through trials. You're going to go through trials. It's the testing of your faith. Don't sweat it. It's going to make you go higher. It's going to bring endurance. It's going to get tougher. You're going to get better at winning. You gotta go through a battle to get practice winning. If you stay in faith, you're always going to win. You just got to stay with it. You just got to stay with it. Don't quit. Don't get doubt and say, well, I don't know what's working. Here's what he's saying. If you're going to be in doubt and you're going to look and say it's not working, this and that, you're tossed to the sea, wishy-washy, something, and you can expect to receive nothing from God. Whoa. Here's what I'm telling you. Fights coming. Battles come. This happens. Situations happen. I'm just going to break it right down this easy, all right? We read all that. You saw it in the Bible, right? Situations are going to happen. Every day ain't going to be perfect. Right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't change nothing. You can still get up and be established in your position and say, I'm still who He says I am. I still have what He says I have. I've made my confession. I've prayed my prayer. Me and God's like this. We're tight. I got it. We got it going on. This, whatever this is, I'm going to pray and follow and be led by the Spirit and do whatever I got to do in this. But it will not defeat me. It might look like it today. It will not defeat me. I wondered what Daniel was doing for 21 days. I'm thinking, I wonder why it took 21 days. Could it have been that what Daniel was omitting? Because man has authority. Could it be that what Daniel was in was giving strength to one side or the other? Took 21 days for some old rotten evil thing to be whooping up on God's angel? 21 days? I'll say this. Don't worry about situations. I know you think that's easy to say. It is easy to say. But don't think I ain't had situations. You all know I have. I've lived most of mine out in the public. You're going to have situations. I'm telling you, just stay hooked. Doesn't change anything. In fact, if anything, it proves that you're a threat.
That's right.
It proves that you have value and purpose. And so you just stand up in the middle of my situation. You ain't getting me down. I may not understand it. I may still have growing to do. I may still have learning to do. This may be some stuff you teaching me still. But I'm still here. And I'm not going to be up and down in faith and start saying, well, I'm getting a place of fear and saying, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? My prayer didn't work and it don't look like it's working. And I don't know why I got started in church and I thought I was doing medicine. Quit with all that. You know who you are and you know what you got. Don't worry about what 6 inches in front of you look like. It's working. You hear me? It's working.
Winning.
It's working. If today don't look so good, don't worry about today. Just know this. Hey, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, I'm going to be higher. I'm going to be better at winning. Hey, another year, I'm going to be higher. I'm going to be better at winning. I'm practicing, see? You can't practice winning if you don't ever get in a fight and win. You might even get knocked down. You might get a black eye now and then. It might take 21 days. But so what? Next time, take 20. Just keep going, because next year you're going to be better at winning. Hey, you might not ever seen anybody get healed yet, but just keep laying hands on them. Because next year you're going to be better at winning. 5 years down the road, you ain't even going to recognize yourself. And you're going to be embarrassed because that one day you said, I'm crying, like, what the fuck? I don't mean to be mean. I was talking about myself. Anybody ever had a pity pouted? Oh, no. I'm telling you this. All y'all go sing. He's going to sing Lighthouse. I don't know how that ties into all this, but it'll be good anyway. I'm telling you this.
What are you going to do?
Just relax.
Oh, I sent you some. It's working?
Be confident of this, that He who began it
Well,
will complete it.
I didn't know.
And regardless of what it looks like,
Keep trying it.
regardless of how much time it takes, it doesn't matter. Food with time. We ain't living in time. Now faith is. It's working. Just get up every day and say it's working. And this situations ain't getting me down. If it looks like I'm losing, I'm still a winner. Anybody ever had a day where it looked like you were losing? Hey, say this with me. So what?
So what?
I thought I was going to preach that sometime where I just had everybody needs to learn how, because everybody's worked up over everything anymore. Nowadays, everything's a big deal, right? Everybody's stressed out about everything. You can't spit on the ground without having to ride or whatever. I'm saying, you know what? Everybody just needs to learn how to do this. Say this. You know what? So what?
So what?
Yeah. So what?
Who cares?
You got a symptom, or you got a diagnosis, you got this, that. So what?
No kidding.
God's still God. He's bigger than all that. And if you'll stay in faith and not be up and down and wishy-washy about it and let situations get you down. See, faith is not this. Well, I'm going to believe it when I see it. Or I'm going to start believing it when I feel like it. Or I'm going, I got what I got regardless of what it feels like. I got what I got because He gave it to me. And it's not based on feelings. It ain't based on situations. It ain't based on none of that. I'm telling you, if you stay in faith and you stay hooked for the long haul, and if the situations aren't any... look, I'm saying, if it's good, it's good. I'm not saying ignore today. I just talked last week about live like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I'm not saying. But if it looks bad, so what? Quit looking at that.
Right.
If you got this and so-and-so had that and they died, don't be looking at them.
Right. That's right.
Find somebody that won to look at. Don't make a hero out of losers.
Amen.
Don't be so blunt. Well, y'all can handle it. You're used to it, right?
Yeah.
Let's just stay in faith and say, you know what? It's working.
It's working.
It's working. It may not be a miracle that happens instantaneously, but tomorrow I'm going to look a little better than I do today. It's working. It's working. You got to stay with that. Yeah, it's working. But the man that says, well, okay, tonight I had Jason pray for me on Thursday. Now, it didn't happen immediately, so it must not be working. I mean, we think that's funny because we've been hearing this all the time, but we've all believed that. We've all looked at that and lived in that. That man, this James said, you might as well expect to receive nothing from God. Because you're practicing losing. And you'll get better at losing. Is that simple enough? Let's practice winning, you want to? And I'm going to tell you this, if you'll stay in the fight long enough, I guarantee you will win. Stay in the fight. Don't give up. Quit looking at situations like they're it. Glue situations. When they're good, enjoy them. Great. Let's have it. Let's evolve. When we're in victory, great. Let's enjoy every second of it. Celebrate. Have a hoopla. You bet. Yeehaw. Let's go. Right? It's all good. It's all good. But even on the bad days, all things work together for the good.
Amen.
Even the bad days. That means if I live long enough, I'm going a long ways. Y'all won't be able to stand me. I'll have it so good. Everybody say this. It's working.
It's working.
Say it again. It's working.
It's working.
I don't care what it looks like.
Doesn't matter what it's like.
Or say it better than that. I don't care what it looks like.
I don't care what it looks like.
It's working.
It's working.
All right. You got it.